Let's take a look at, for instance, Bill Clinton. Now, here's a picture that came out. And of course, it came out in a British newspaper, the Daily Mail, not in an American newspaper. It's Clinton getting a massage from one of Jeff Epstein's girls. Now, let me say off the top, she's 22 years old. And she reported that Clinton, during this whole trip they were on, didn't attack her and behaved like a gentleman. However, for those of you who don't know about Jeffrey Epstein, like Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein was said to be that his genitals were deformed and that he was largely impotent, a lot of the times he was impotent. Both Epstein and Weinstein have this in common, reportedly. And it's kind of interesting. It makes you think that this may be why they wanted to dominate and hurt and, overwhelm women. Maybe there's some sense of insecurity. But the thing that Epstein did, and this is from the book Filthy Rich, which is now, I think, a Netflix documentary. It's by James Patterson, the thriller writer, and a very well-researched book about how Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein lured these girls in. And the way they did it was through massages, okay? So it was come over and give a massage. I'm going to be naked. You should take your clothes off too. And then it progressed from there. And whatever Epstein could do and whatever he could get away with, he eventually did. And these girls were underage girls, very innocent, didn't really know what they were doing a lot of the time, took money, needed the money. They were many of them were strapped for cash, and so they took the money while it's just a massage, and it would move up step by step from there until they were enslaved. So I'm not saying that Bill Clinton in that picture is doing anything wrong specifically to that girl or that girl is underage. What I'm saying is he's participating in a system of enslavement of underage girls, and he's participating in the way that system takes place. Now, you can argue that he didn't know it. I don't believe you. This guy knew Jeffrey Epstein. He traveled with Jeffrey Epstein. He went to his island, what do they call it, the Lolita Express, and he went to his paradise island. And, I just don't believe he didn't know what was going on. I don't have proof that he was actually, doing anything with these underage girls, though we now have eyewitnesses saying they saw him with her. Okay, so he's participating in this system. He was credibly accused. And I really want to go through this because this is the guy who's speaking at the convention where Joe Biden was officially nominated. So he's participating in this system. He was credibly accused of rape by Juanita Broaddrick, not like Brett Kavanaugh, who was accused by a woman who couldn't even prove she had ever met him. He was credibly accused of rape. That doesn't mean he did it, but it means that he was credibly accused. He was accused by a lot of women, and there were a lot of witnesses to his exposing himself, to chasing them around the room, to his mauling them. Hillary Clinton helped silence those women. So did James Carville. You remember James Carville, who's on TV all the time, making jokes and being his laid-back Louisiana self. This is the guy who said, these are the kind of women, their complaints are just because somebody dragged a $100 bill through a trailer park. That's where these women came from. So did George Stephanopoulos. There is video of him. I've played it many times on the show. Video of George Stephanopoulos, now the chief news guy on ABC. George Stephanopoulos calling up reporters and telling them to suppress what they called bimbo eruptions, which we now call Me Too complaints, right? Complaints of women about how Bill Clinton treated them were suppressed by George Stephanopoulos. It is on video. You can see him doing it. He is now the chief ABC anchorman. Now, the Epstein story was suppressed, we know, for at least 3 years at ABC. We have those videos as well. We have seen it, the news anchor complaining that she had the Epstein story and they wouldn't let her run it. So we can't prove, but this is while Hillary Clinton was running for president, the Jeffrey Epstein story was suppressed as a news story on ABC, where George Stephanopoulos still works. We don't have proof that Stephanopoulos was involved, but he is the chief news correspondent at ABC. So there's every reason to suspect that George Stephanopoulos, helping out Hillary Clinton, helped suppress this. Again, I don't have proof of that, but we do have proof that ABC suppressed the story, all right? The Weinstein story was killed by Andrew Lack and others, according to Ronan Farrow. It was killed at NBC, which was obviously owned by Universal Comcast, so they were getting pressure from Hollywood, while they were in the process of protecting Matt Lauer, who was also abusing women. Then NBC timed the release of the Hollywood Access tape of Donald Trump saying, when you're a celebrity, women will let you do things to them. That was what he said, and he had used ugly language. Okay, so that was released, timed release. They held it back until they thought it was going to hurt him the worst. And then NBC, same guys who would kill the Harvey Weinstein story, same guys released this, okay? Now let's go to Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh is accused by a woman who has no proof that she ever met him. Activists corner Jeff Flake to try and affect his vote on the confirmation. They corner him in an elevator, and this tape went viral. This is cut 19 of what these activists said to Jeff Flake. This is feminist activists, and I'm not doubting their word at all, what they said to Jeff Flake about voting for Brett Kavanaugh.
I was sexually assaulted and nobody believed me. I didn't tell anyone, and you're telling all women that they don't matter, that they should just stay quiet, because if they tell you what happened to them, you're going to ignore them. That's what happened to me, and that's what you're telling all women in America, that they don't matter. They should just keep it to themselves, because if they have told the truth, you're just going to help that man to power anyway. That's what you're telling all of these women. That's what you're telling me right now. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter.
Okay, so look at me when I'm talking to you. Where are this woman's tears today, now that she knows that Clinton friend Harvey Weinstein was suppressed, the story was suppressed by NBC, that she knows Jeff Epstein's story, Clinton friend Jeff Epstein's story was suppressed at ABC, where George Stephanopoulos works. Where are they now when Joe Biden is accused of finger a woman by Tara Reid, and that story is suppressed? Dean Baquet at the New York Times didn't cover it for over 2 weeks and then ran it on the inside pages of the Easter Sunday edition, and then gave an interview saying, well, we didn't cover it because it wasn't in the news. This is the new editor of the New York Times says, we're not covering the story because it's not in the news. I know it's not in the news because I read the New York Times and it wasn't there, so we didn't cover it at the New York Times because it wasn't in the New York Times. That was Dean Baquet's argument. Where's that woman's tears now? And here's the speaker at the convention yesterday, Bill Clinton, this is cut 10.
At a time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. There's only chaos. Just one thing never changes: his determination to deny responsibility and shift the blame. The buck never stops there.
He forgot to add, and I never had sexual relations with that woman. My point is that the entire Democrat media machine is Bill Clinton. It abuses women, it manipulates women, it manipulates their emotions to get them to vote for them while using them for their own purposes. The entire Democrat Party is Bill Clinton. He should have been the keynote speaker. They just brought him out because they have to, because a lot of people were brought into the party by Bill Clinton. There's still a lot of Clinton Democrats in the party. They have to bring him out. But this is the way they treat women, and they treat them at every level, the media level, the corporate level, the political level. They are all doing it. Everything is tickety-boo, including the massive growth of the Daily Wire YouTube channel. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and catch all our future videos right here on YouTube.